Well, good morning. My Fire Ham presents. We're going to talk about perspective today. It's something that we do a lot as a company. It's something that we work a lot with people. I joke on the bottom, it's bird, it's plane, it's perspective. Perspective is something that influences every person in this room and how you guys do business and how people do business with you. So these are the things that I'm going to talk about today. Backgrounds are also known as context, perspective, and psychography. It's not supposed to be physiography, but psychography. Number one is context. For those of you who don't know when I present, I call people out and ask them to read things. So Jay, would you read the definition of context?
Really?
Yes, really.
Context. It means the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, in terms of which it can be fully understood and assessed.
Context is super important with what we do. It's super important for everybody. Context forms and shapes everything in your life. So growing up, I was homeschooled, all right? Middle school, all the way through high school. That's my context. It shaped how I think, shaped how I do things, shaped how I interact with people. It's where part of the awkwardness comes from. I'm awkward. And it's just, if you haven't figured that out yet, for those of y'all visiting, it's true. And it's my context. I grew up with 3 siblings. My dad was a pastor. We had a church in our basement. That shaped how I think. That shapes how I interact with people. That shapes how I do things, right? Your context is different. How you grew up shapes how you view the world. Everybody else views something differently. We talk about context looking through a fence slat, right? You got this little thing that all the context is what is the fence walls or whatever, the posts. And then your life view is what you see through those 2 things, how it's been shaped, how it's been affected, how it's been all these things. And everybody looks through one of these. In mine, I might see some flowers, some butterflies, some trees, and yours, you might see dogs and some kids swimming in a pool. I don't know. Everybody's context differently, how they grew up, where they came from. If you guys have ever met somebody from another country, most of the time you can even tell they're from a different country before even talking to them, because their context is different, the way they carry, the way they talk and interact. So why is context important? It shapes your customer's perspective of you, right? Context shapes all the people that interact with you. Growing up, my dad, which is hilarious because I married a lawyer, but my dad was like, lawyers, we'll never hire lawyers. We don't do anything. Just stay away from court and all this other stuff because it's always bad. Well, my dad had some bad stuff happen with his father and stuff growing up, and all these other things caused problems. It shaped his context, shaped how I saw lawyers. Married a lawyer, found out, oh, that's not the whole picture. There are bad lawyers and there are good lawyers. Jay, Rob, my wife, and
good or bad,
and Justin, and they are. There's good and bad. Yeah, sorry, Justin. Man, I looked over here and you're not sitting in your normal seat. Justin's the bad one. Actually, Justin's great. But anyways, moving on. It's context, right? There's good and bad to both sides, and so people view you based on how they grew up, based on how they've interacted with other businesses, based on how they've acted with other people. Number 2 is perspective. This one's really good. What does everybody see?
Can't see it. Rabbit.
Duck.
A seagull.
Scribbling. Rabbit.
Rabbit, right? It's a duck and a rabbit. It's both, depending on how you look at it. You see the rabbit with the mouth and the eyeball, and with the 2 ears, and then you see the duck and the bill and the tongue coming out the other side. It's perspective. Your context totally 100% shapes your perspective. Your customer's context totally 100% shapes their perspective. They're going to see things differently than you do. One of the things that we constantly work with is image, perspective, and context. When your website's being built, when your marketing is being done, what is the perspective? What is the context? Who are the people we're talking to? What is their background? What do they do? What are their jobs? What are all this stuff? All these things go into actually developing good marketing for connection, right? And why is perspective important? It shapes how your customers interact with you. Not view you, but interact with you. Context shapes how they view you, and then what shapes their perspective and how they're going to interact with you. So, psychography. Because of context and because of these things, in our walk, we found that there are 3 types of buyers. Their context and their things, right? First one, we call Walmart. What is Walmart? What does Walmart want to do? Does anybody know? Huh? What is Walmart all about? Money, right? And so you have people who've grown up with certain contexts. You have people who've grown up with a certain perspective, and they're looking at money. How much does it cost? How much does it cost? Can I get a better deal? They price shop, they do all these things, right? Yeah, thanks, tall perspective. But they talk about money, right? And then you have a different one. You have a different buyer type called Macy's. What do you guys think Macy's is for buyer types?
Better quality.
Higher end.
Better quality.
Better quality, higher end. Image. I'm going to go to Macy's, buy a Calvin Klein suit. I'm going to buy a Mercedes-Benz because the president's about to retire, and I want everybody in the company to know that I'm the man to be the president, because I look it, I feel it, I act it, and I wear it, right? So perspective and context shapes Macy's, right? It shapes this person. Somebody buys because of image. Somebody buys because, man, it's the most expensive. It's the best. I want it. It's keeping up with the Joneses. You guys ever heard that? It's really true. It happens in business. It happens when people buy from you, when people interact with you. All right, the next one we call custom. And this is our lingo. You can take it, change it if you want. But custom, what does custom want? What do they care about?
Perfect fit.
Close. Time. I have a custom suit maker. I call him, get measured once, and then I call him for the rest of my life, and he will cut me a suit, cut me shirts, cut me pants, and I never have to go shopping ever again because it saves me time. Because it's all about time. Everybody has a different thing. You think about what you are. Understand yourself. Understand what you are. You can understand how you buy. You can understand how you interact, because people buy one of these three ways in our experience. Online, offline, whatever. There's always three types of buyers when it comes to products, services, and all these things. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about is this is part of what we do, but more importantly, this is really what you do. Because context, perspective, buyer types, and all those things, they shape your messaging, your marketing, your process, and your customer experience. Everything that you guys do comes back to this, whether you're aware of it or not. It always comes up. It always is brought up, and you're always interacting with it. And so one of mine and Andrew's big things is, are we aware of what we're doing? Or are we just nonchalantly walking along and then just reacting versus understanding what we're doing? And so that's everything. This message was approved and brought to you by Andrew's Subbing Service, which is hilarious because my first name's Andrew, where you get subs, not sandwiches. That's the end of the presentation.